Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. In today's video we are here in one of my live streams doing community races, and these are all members of the community, and we're gonna go ahead and do another video where I am going to spectate and commentate on everybody in here's racing. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Let's hop in and see what happens. Alright, here we go. And Mayday starting on pole, followed closely by Marson. Clamp got in third. Looks like he might be trying to work his way to the back. Mayday out in front, and Sick now up into P2, challenging into turn 1. Not able to get that move done. Mayday holding on to the lead for now. Let's hop on board with Bobbity, who has already made up 5 positions here. And we'll switch over to the game cam and come on board. And Bobbity here in third. Nick challenging Mayday down this straight into the sharp left. Nick going for the move up the inside. Does manage to make it stick. Check a little bit further back. Grim putting the pressure on Bobbity. And Marson taking advantage of Grim backing off after the bump to Bobbity. And then Grim takes the spot back after Marson bumps Bobbity. Interesting interaction there between those three. Let's come back here a little bit, check in on a couple of Vipers. Thick Stay Frosty and Anthrax. Anthrax going wide through the kink. Looks like we had a couple of incidents there. A few people having trouble through that right hand kink. Coming up towards the end of lap 1, Mayday still holding on to first place here, and has managed to pull a 2-second gap. If the splits are right, that doesn't look like a 2-second gap. Maybe we check it. Okay, a 6/10 lap. That's gap, not lap. That sounds much more like what I'm seeing here. But there is your leader in front, and we are on board with Sick Nick in second place. Grim getting by Bobbity on the straight here. Bobbity falling back. Legend now up into 4th place. Bobbity losing 2 spots there from 3rd down to 5th. Right now your top 5 are Mayday, Sick Nick, Grim, Legend, and Bobbity. Webster, Anthrax, Toge, 9Carp, and Marson round out the top 10. Let's hop on board with Toge here. Trying to close in on Anthrax. Coming through the long, sweeping right-hand carousel. And on to this back straight before the kink. See if anybody has any issues this time. Nope, they all managed to make it through that time without any major issues. Oh, and Nick going for a move. Couldn't quite get it done. Mayday able to hold on to the lead there, but Nick putting the pressure on here. Going into the final corner. Mayday goes a little bit deep. Sick Nick gets a better run. We'll be getting a little bit of side draft here. And Sick Nick is going to make a move into first place going into turn 1 on lap 3. Legend and Grim not far behind, hoping that Nick and Mayday continue to fight, giving them an opportunity to get involved or a chance at the lead here. Checking back in, it looks like Toge got by Anthrax up into P7. 9 Carp and Anthrax close behind. It's a close 3-way battle going on here. Anthrax going, looking up the inside, can't quite get it done there. Toge able to hold that position without much issue. 9 Carp though, closing in on Anthrax. It's now right up on the back of him. Through the carousel we go. Anthrax getting a little bit loose, a little offline. Is able to hold it. Onto the back straight. 9 Carp in the draft. Anthrax moves over to defend. Comes back. Don't go for a move there. Anthrax defending hard here. 9 Carp looking for a way by. Let's go back and check in on this battle out front. Mayday is now back into the lead of the race, followed by Sick Nick, Grim, and Legend. All 3 of them within a second of each other. Grim gets a little bit loose on the curve there, is able to gather it up and hang on to that spot, putting a lot of pressure on Nick and Mayday. Let's go on board with Mayday here and take a look at what's going on behind from his point of view. And this is what he is seeing in his mirror. Sick Nick, Grim, and Legend bearing down on him, hoping for a mistake, looking for any opening to try to take first place. Mayday doing a great job to fend this off so far in this race. You also see Bobbity back there in 5th place, lurking in that yellow Viper as we come through the carousel here. Legend putting a lot of pressure on Grim through the carousel. They do maintain their original order. Grim and Legend side by side, and Legend gets by Grim on the straight. There we go. And there is your top 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Through the final corner, up the hill they go. Clamp got there in 12th behind Marson. Thick Stay Frosty and Hosu in a battle for P13. Trippiest Burger catching up to Buford T. Justice, and followed by Mahanazam. And let's go back to this battle at the front here. Sick Nick did manage to get by Mayday, is taking the defensive line here. Mayday with the draft pulling up alongside. They go into the corner side by side. Sick Nick does manage to make it stick. And here comes Legend. And Legend up the inside. Sick Nick fighting back, but Legend does manage to take the lead of the race there. And Grim taking advantage of Sick Nick being out of position and moving up into P2. So this order has just completely flipped around from Mayday in first to Mayday in fourth, from Sick in second to Sick in third, from Legend in third to Legend in first, and from Grim in fourth to now in second place. What a wild swap around that was between all four of these guys. Great driving out front, for sure. Sick Nick a little bit deep into that corner. Mayday looking for the cutback. Can't quite get it done with the acceleration of that Audi. Let's check back a little bit further. Oh, and Bobbity is right here getting involved in this fight. Bobbity reminding us that he was fighting for the lead early on. Sick Nick going into the pits. Bobbity using the draft from Mayday here, hoping that he can get the side draft to get up to turn one and take that podium spot. Goes later on the brakes, holds his inside line, and manages to get that move done. Mayday fighting back. Can't quite get it done there. Bobbity gets real loose on the curb. Loses momentum. And here comes Mayday. Fighting back. And Mayday back up into third place. Bobbity, is he gonna look for another late move on the brakes? He doesn't. He backs out. Mayday gets up into third and holds that position. Bobbity with a little bump, but backs out and ensures that Mayday is able to hold on to that position there. Toge looks like he is right here and ready to get involved. He is. He is now caught up right onto the back Bobbity here. Toge, Bobbity, and Mayday all coming through the carousel. 3, 4, and 5. Legend and Grim out front, running 1 and 2 respectively. Just up there you can see him going through that kink. And here we go. This kink can make or break races. Toge going up the inside. Too late on the brakes, and Bobbity says thank you very much with the cutback, but then gets loose. Toge takes the spot right back. Bobbity had a great move and just lost the rear end there a little bit towards the end. Here we go, your top 5 are all going into the pits. And we have a huge number of cars entering the pits now, all at the same time. Your top 10 all pitting. The top 12. Is anybody going long? So far, Sick is the first person to not pit on this lap. Sick now in third place. So far, Mahanazam, the only one who has not pit yet. Mahanazam running here in P8. outside of Thwarted Wave, is the only one who has not pit yet. Thwarted Wave back here in the Marmite Aston Martin. Let's check in at the front. Legend still out in front. Grimm still trying to hunt him down. Sick Nick can just see them up there. He can taste the battle. Pushing, trying to gain any time at all. Toge putting the pressure on Sick Nick here. Not sure what just happened there, but they're in a battle, as you can see. Mahanazam going into the pits now. Start of lap 8 for the two drivers here fighting for the last podium spot. Webster here in P6. Bobbity putting the pressure on. Let's check back in on Anthrax. Anthrax here in P8. And 9 Carb in the Aston Martin with a better run out of the corner. Comes right back at Anthrax down the straight. Has the inside line. Parks it on the apex and gets that overtake done. Very nice move by 9 Carp there. Anthrax, though, looking to fight back. And 9 Carp will hold on to that position for now. Let's check back up here. Bobbity managing to get by Webster right before entering the carousel. Bobbity now with his sights set on Mayday for that top 5 finish. Toge on the podium. Can just see Legend and Grimm up ahead. Just about the time he sees them, they disappear. But he can see them, and that gives him a target. Let's check back here on this battle in the top 10. Pole position here in P10. Watching this battle between Anthrax and 9 Carp for 8th position. It would appear that they are catching Webster now in P7. Anthrax with the better run. Is he going to be able to get by the Aston going into the corner here? And 9 Carp backs out. 9 Carp concedes the position, and Anthrax will take that 8th place. Both of these drivers, despite their battle, continuing to close up onto the back of Webster here. Webster could be vulnerable again on the back straight. Coming out of the kink after the carousel, Anthrax teasing a nose up the inside there, letting Webster feel some heat as they come through the carousel here. Anthrax practically pushing Webster along. Backing out to get through the kink is certainly not an area where you want to pass. And 9 Carp goes off. Does manage to avoid being slowed down by the wall. And manages to avoid losing any positions. Webster has a big off as Anthrax and Webster have a huge collision. That'll move Savage up into 8th place. Webster now in 9th. Anthrax concedes the position. Does give that position back to avoid any repercussions. Very few penalties this race. Most people doing quite well. Webster going into the pits. And that is a tough break for Anthrax, who just gets the position right back. Unfortunate there. Still 7 laps left in this race. Plenty of time to make up for the lost time on that last lap there. Pole position in 9 car here, battling it out for P7. Grim has managed to get by Legend. It's Toge has also managed to get by Legend. Let's check the pit stops here and see. They've all only made 1 stop, so something, Legend had a big issue somewhere. A last lap of a 2:10, lost tons of time. Maybe had an off at the kink. Not exactly sure what happened there for the change of the lead, but your new leader is Grim out in front, followed by Toge, Legend, Sick, and Mayday. That is your top 5. Mayday really having a great drive. Did start in first, but given how this race has gone and the strength of this lobby, really good result for him so far in this race. To be in a close battle with Nick here in 4th, who does seem to be struggling quite a bit in that Audi. Coming up to the start-finish line at the end of lap 10, start of lap 11 here, in a drag race down to turn 1. Mayday with the inside line is going to manage to get that move done. Can he hold on to it through this next corner? Oh, and he catches the grass, loses the rear end and goes wide. And Sick takes the cutback and moves back up into P4. Mayday fighting back again now down the back straight here. Sick giving up the inside line. Mayday later on the brakes just manages to get it to stick, and another excellent overtake by Mayday. Let's check back in with our front group here. Grim heading into the carousel, followed by Toge, followed by Legend. That battle we were just watching behind Mayday and Sick just now entering the carousel as well. Bobbity has now moved up past Sick through the carousel, getting the move done. And that is not a spot where you expect to see many overtakes. Bobbity sticking it around the outside through the carousel to move up into 5th place. Bobbity now has his eyes set on Mayday. Does appear to be gaining ground. Bobbity may have switched on to soft tires here. Unfortunately, we cannot tell who is running what tires, as that would certainly be helpful. Bobbity looking for the cutback. Sick Nick going into the pits in 6th. And it's I mean, there's nothing in it between these two down the straight. Bobbity, with a little bit of side draft, is able to hold the inside line and get that move done. Bobbity now up into 4th place after a nice overtake on Mayday. Mayday here in 5th place, fighting back. Is on the outside for this next corner. Goes late on the brakes. Is in front. Tries to stick it on the apex. Oh, and a big collision there. Bobbity does back out. Gives Mayday that position back. And all is well. Let's check back here. See how things are going. I think that this battle right here might be closest battle right now. What do we got back here? We have a close battle back here. Let's check in back here and see how this is going. We got Hosu, Marson, and Frosty. And Hosu and Marson go quite wide there. They are both able to gather it back up and keep it on the track. This is a battle for 9th. The leaders are going into the pits now. That is, your top 3 are now in the pits. Followed by Bobbity and Mayday. The top 5 all in the pits here. Seems like a lot of people are running a very similar strategy here. Tough battle there between Frosty and Marson. Everybody seems to be pitting here on this lap. Sick is on a different strategy. Let's see where Sick moves up to with this round of pit stops happening. He did undercut, and he will move all the way back up into 6th. And Mayday managing to come out just ahead going into turn 1 there and hold on to P5. Let's check back in with the leader back here on board with Grim. Grim is being followed by Toge. Mercedes versus BMW versus Legend in the Porsche versus America in the Viper. And Britain, the UK, with the Aston Martin. 3 German manufacturers on the podium, followed by America, followed by the new Aston Martin in P5. Sick Nick putting a lot of pressure on Mayday here through the carousel. As they go through the kink. Sick. Oh, both of them go a little bit wide. Got a little bit loose on that curb. Both managing to gather it up and hold on. Go back on board with Legend here. Go back to the intervals. I really think that and Sick Nick going up the inside into turn 1 on Mayday. And just manages to get that move to stick. Anthrax in pole position going at it here for 8th place. 9 Carb managing to get ahead of both of them. Aston Martin and the Viper. Looks like they might be working together here. Pole position. Seemingly content to just push Anthrax along to try to catch up and maybe fight for P7. Anthrax goes wide, loses the rear end a little bit, does manage to gather it up and maintain his position. We'll ride on board here with Marson. Posu and Clamp God, a little bit of door banging there going into that left-hander. Another Mercedes and BMW viewed here on track. Of course, the other battle being between Grimm and Toge. Clamp God very deep into that corner. Does have the inside line on Marson going through the carousel. Can Marson make it stick around the outside? Through the kink they go. Marson backing out a little bit to make sure that they survive through the kink there. Does look like Toge has closed up the gap on Grimm just a little bit. Check back in here on pole position. Pole position Anthrax and 9 Carb spaced out pretty nicely here. Not a lot of super close action between these three right now. I think that this battle between Mayday and Nick continues to be the battle to keep an eye on for a top 5 spot. Sick pulling away a little bit now after the slight mistake under braking into the left-hander before you go up the hill. Not really any super close battles going on right this second. So let's hop up here on board with Toge. And we'll get a chance to watch Toge do some driving here and see Grimm up there in first, your leader of the race. We'll take a quick peek here at moves made this race, and Toge with 14 spots made up, currently sitting in P2 with just 1.5 laps to go here. Let's check the intervals again. So your top 3 running within about 2 seconds of each other. And then you have a huge gap to where 4th, 5th, and 6th are all, excuse me, having, you know, I mean, it's not a super close fight, but it's not bad. Here you go, Anthrax has figured out a way past 9 Carp here as they come around to the final corner before their last lap here. And pole position, aka Savage, seems to have lost a little bit of time, despite his last lap being his fastest lap, and that remains true. Another new fastest lap for Savage, aka pole position of a 2:05.3. Let's check in on our leader. The fastest lap of a 2:03.7. That gap down to 1.2 now. Toge has made up some time on Grim here. 1.1 seconds. Now within 1 second, Toge really pushing, fighting, trying to catch Grim. Trying to do anything he can to give Grim any semblance of pressure here. Grim being an extremely smooth and skilled driver, not likely to make a mistake at this stage of the race. And here we are through the final corner. And your winner is Grim Legion Gaming, followed by Toge and Legend. Bobbity in 4th place, rounding the final corner here. Will bring home a P4. Mayday getting back by Sick Nick here. Will take home the top 5 spot. Excellent drive by Mayday. Sick Nick in 6th, which I guess is appropriate. Sick Nick in 6th. Let's try to say that fast, dude. Pole position in 8th. Webster getting by Anthrax at the last second. Anthrax just stopped on the track. And Anthrax seems to have had some kind of mechanical failure just before the finish line, costing him tons of positions. You hate to see that. Here we go, as we finish up this race. Trippiest Burger will cross the line in 16th. And I think that is going to go ahead and do it. Isaac and Thwarted Wave still 1 lap down. Your winner, Grim Legion Gaming, followed by ACR, Toge, and Legend. That is your podium. The fastest lap between them does go to Toge with a 2:03.2. Excellent race by everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to catch y'all in the next one.